The glass shattered first. Ethan Ward dove across the marble floor just as a jagged shard sliced through the air, embedding itself in the expensive rug. Rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows, turning the city outside into a blur of neon and storm. He groaned, gripping his side where the shard grazed him, heart racing. The sound of the boys' wheelchairs scraping across the floor froze him mid-breath. "Lucas! Owen!" he shouted, panic slicing through the fog of his grief. The twins were strapped in, staring at the broken glass, wide-eyed and frozen. 2 years since the accident that had stolen their mother and left them paralyzed from the waist down. Ethan had learned to fear every moment, every shadow, every creak. This was the first time the danger had felt real and close. Stay calm, boys," he barked, forcing a steady tone. But calm was miles away, drowned beneath adrenaline. He scrambled to their side, hands trembling as he unclasped the straps on Lucas's wheelchair. A shadow appeared at the doorway, a small, unassuming figure, holding a tray of tea like a shield against the storm outside. Maya Bennett, the maid, not just any maid. She'd been working at the Ward penthouse for only a week, but she carried herself with a quiet confidence Ethan didn't recognize at first. "Sir." Maya's voice cut through the tension, calm, unwavering. "I've got them. Step back." Ethan blinked, unsure. This was not the time for subtlety. Yet somehow, Maya moved faster than he thought possible, pulling the twins safely away from the shards, her hands light but firm, her eyes steady, commanding. He didn't understand. She wasn't trained. She had no credentials. She was just a maid, and yet she moved with precision and calm he hadn't seen in any of the dozens of top doctors he'd hired. "You're okay," she whispered to Lucas, brushing his hair back. "It's okay. You're safe now." Ethan's chest heaved. His voice caught in his throat. They're fine." "Yes," Maya said, "and they will be. Just breathe, Mr. Ward. Everything's going to be okay." For the first time in 2 years, Ethan let his knees buckle. The fear, the guilt, the endless frustration. It all came pouring out. His sons were alive. They were unharmed. But he knew the real battle, the one that had haunted him every day since the accident, was far from over. By the next morning, the penthouse felt colder than ever. Rain had stopped, leaving the city slick and glistening below. Ethan sat at the dining table, hands wrapped around a mug of coffee he hadn't finished, while Lucas and Owen sat silently in their wheelchairs, staring at the window. "Ethan," Maya said softly, kneeling by the boys, "we can try something today." He looked at her, wary. "Something? What do you mean? You're not a doctor. You can't fix them." She tilted her head, eyes calm but piercing. "I'm not here to fix them. I'm here to reach them." Ethan's laugh was hollow. Reach them? After 2 years, after every therapist, every injection, every device, every specialist. You think a maid can reach them? Maya didn't flinch. She pulled a small speaker from her bag and pressed play. A soft melody filled the air, gentle but alive. She began tapping her hands on the floor, lightly, rhythmically. The boys' heads tilted slightly, almost imperceptibly, toward the sound. Ethan froze. It was tiny, almost nothing, but it was a reaction. "You see that?" Maya whispered. "They hear it. They're noticing." Ethan felt his chest tighten. He hadn't seen his sons respond to anything for months. Music? A song? A maid? This was insane. I don't," he started. "Don't think, just watch," Maya said, smiling. "You've been watching reports for 2 years. Let's watch life instead." The next days were a blur of small, miraculous moments. Maya arrived each morning, carrying scarves, softballs, and music players. She never forced the boys to move. She never scolded them. She simply played, danced, laughed, and asked the simplest questions. "Do you like this song? Can you reach for this?" At first, it was frustrating. The boys barely responded. Lucas flinched when touched. Owen's eyes glazed over, staring past her. Ethan watched, anxiety clawing at him. "It's not working," he said one evening, voice tight. "They're not moving. You promised." Maya knelt, looking him in the eyes. "I didn't promise. I asked for patience. Healing isn't a moment, it's a process. But today, Lucas lifted his finger when I clapped. That's progress. That's hope. Ethan shook his head, part of him desperate, part of him cynical. Hope had betrayed him too many times. Then the breakthrough came. It was a Tuesday, rainy and gray, when Maya sat on the floor with a small drum and 2 scarves. The twins stared, blank, for several minutes. Ethan stood behind, arms crossed, silent, expecting nothing. Then Lucas stretched an arm toward the scarf. Just a fingertip. Owen mirrored him, tiny, slow, but deliberate. Ethan froze. He didn't breathe. Did you see that? Maya smiled gently. I did, and I think they want to try more. He wanted to laugh. He wanted to cry. He wanted to shake someone from months of stagnation. But he simply knelt beside them, unsure if this was real. Lucas, you can touch it, he whispered. The boy hesitated. Then his hand closed around the scarf. Just that small motion, yet it felt monumental. Ethan felt tears burning his eyes. His sons, they were trying. For the first time in years, they were trying. Maya clapped her hands lightly. That's it. That's it. Keep going. Ethan found himself laughing. A real laugh. Something raw, almost forgotten. And the boys somehow mirrored it. Tiny giggles escaped them, uncertain at first, then bolder. The room, once silent and cold, hummed with life. Ethan's phone buzzed. Dr. Helena Price's name flashed across the screen. He ignored it, letting Maya lead the boys through a rhythm game with scarves, tapping and claps. He didn't care about reports anymore. He cared about this. The moment, the small steps, the first sparks of life. Hours passed. The twins' laughter grew. Their movements, tiny at first, became more deliberate. They leaned, stretched, lifted arms, turned heads, all in response to the maid's music and play. Ethan's skepticism wavered. He looked at Maya, the untrained, humble maid, and felt something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. Maya caught his gaze and smiled softly. Sometimes, she said, you have to stop thinking like a billionaire and start believing like a father. Ethan's hand shook. He swallowed hard, nodding. I want to try. With you. With them. Good, Maya said, because they need you, not just me. By the end of the first week, Ethan was participating daily. He clapped, tapped, laughed, and cheered alongside Maya. The boys responded, ever so slightly, lifting heads, wiggling fingers, letting joy crack through years of silence. One evening, as the rain poured again, Lucas stretched both hands toward Ethan. Daddy, help, he whispered. Ethan's throat tightened. Yes, I'm here. I'm here. With trembling hands, he lifted Lucas slightly, supporting him. Owen followed, leaning against his father's arm. Ethan laughed through tears. I never thought I'd feel this again. Maya watched silently, smiling. Healing starts with love. All the rest is just details. If you believe in impossible, don't forget to subscribe, and comment your thoughts. Because sometimes miracles happen when hope isn't in medicine, but in presence. The next morning, sunlight spilled weakly through the penthouse windows, cutting across the pristine floor in streaks of gold. Ethan sat hunched over the breakfast table, staring at his untouched mug of coffee. Lucas and Owen were already in the living room, eyes following Maya as she arranged a small, colorful mat on the floor. You ready today? Maya asked softly, kneeling beside the twins. Her voice carried warmth, authority, and an unspoken promise that things could change. Lucas hesitated, then nodded slightly. Owen didn't move at first, but when Maya held up a small drum, his fingers twitched almost imperceptibly. Ethan watched from the doorway, heart hammering. Each tiny motion felt monumental. 2 years of paralysis, 2 years of silence, and now, the smallest sign of life. Come on, boys. Let's make some music, Maya said, tapping lightly on the drum. She encouraged them with her smile, her hands guiding theirs without forcing. Lucas lifted his hand fully, resting on the drum head. A faint beat sounded. Owen's fingers joined a second later. Ethan's chest tightened, a mixture of disbelief, awe, and relief. I can't believe it, he muttered under his breath. Maya glanced at him. Believe it, Ethan. They're trying, and you need to see them as children first, not patients. The rest of the morning passed in a blur. The boys laughed, giggled, and leaned forward to reach for instruments, scarves, and softballs Maya placed in front of them. Each motion, no matter how small, was a victory. By mid-afternoon, Ethan couldn't resist joining in. He clapped, tapped, and encouraged, laughing with them. It felt foreign at first, like stepping into a world he'd forgotten existed, but slowly he melted into it. The tension that had gripped the penthouse for years began to loosen. Dad again? Lucas's voice cracked, soft but persistent. Yes, again. We'll do it as long as you want, Ethan replied, smiling through tears. He lifted Lucas slightly, supported his back as the boy reached for a scarf. Owen leaned against him too, trying to stretch out his legs. The progress wasn't linear. At one point, Lucas wobbled, Owen tensed, and Ethan's heart stopped. He caught Lucas before he fell, holding him tightly, whispering words of reassurance he'd never thought he'd be able to say. See, Maya said softly. Fear holds them back, just as it holds you back. Let go. Trust them. Ethan swallowed, nodding. He realized she was right. His constant vigilance, his panic, his obsession with control, it had suffocated his children. They weren't just physically stuck. They were trapped in his grief. 2. That evening, Dr. Helena Price arrived for her weekly assessment. She stepped cautiously into the living room, clipboard in hand, frowning at the scattered instruments and the faint smell of rain-soaked scarves. Ethan, I need to know what's happening, she said sharply. I've reviewed the charts. There's no clinical reason for this activity. They should not be moving voluntarily. They're moving, Ethan said quietly but firmly. I've seen it, and they're laughing for the first time in years. Dr. Price's eyes narrowed. This is not sustainable. These aren't therapies. These are distractions. Maya met her gaze steadily. They're not distractions. They're connections. Connections that medicine cannot provide. Ethan felt a surge of anger and protectiveness. Do you see them? He demanded. Do you see them reaching, smiling, responding? That's more than reflexes. That's progress. Dr. Price pursed her lips, glancing at the boys who were now balancing a scarf together, leaning on each other for support. I will record it, but I'm skeptical. Ethan turned away, unwilling to argue further. He didn't care about her skepticism. He cared about the moment, the tiny victories, the laughter. Over the next few days, the penthouse transformed. Not physically. It was still lavish, cold, and orderly, but the atmosphere shifted. Music, laughter, and clapping echoed through the halls. Ethan spent more time with the boys than in his office. Each morning, he joined Maya, clapping, laughing, and encouraging Lucas and Owen. Each afternoon, he marveled at their small, yet undeniable progress. One afternoon, as sunlight cut through the windows, Lucas attempted to lift his leg from the wheelchair for the first time. It wobbled, faltered, but he did it. Owen tried immediately after, his face lighting up with determination. Ethan froze, tears stinging. You're doing it. You're really doing it. Maya knelt beside him, her hands resting lightly on his shoulders. They need you here, Ethan. Fully here. Your presence, your belief, it's as important as the exercises. Perhaps more. He nodded, swallowing hard. I've been blind, haven't I? 2 years of blind grief. She smiled. No, you've been human. Now you can be present too. That night, Ethan sat by the window, watching the city below. The boys were asleep, exhausted from a day of activity he never imagined possible. Maya cleaned up quietly, humming softly. Ethan, she said, hesitating. You've been carrying this for too long alone. Let me help. Let us help together. He exhaled slowly. I don't know how to do this. How to be normal. How to be a dad again. You don't have to be perfect, Maya replied gently. Just here. Just now. That's enough. He nodded, tears slipping silently. For the first time in years, he felt hope. Not the brittle hope of doctors' promises, but a real, living, breathing hope. The following week, brought a new challenge. Lucas and Owen were encouraged to try standing with support. Ethan was tense, every muscle coiled in anxiety. Maya guided him softly, whispering instructions to boys. "Lean on me, Lucas. I'm right here." Lucas's legs shook violently. Ethan gritted his teeth, hard in his throat. "You can do it. Just a little more." Owen mirrored his brother, wobbling, gripping Ethan's other arm. Maya moved behind them, steadying their backs lightly. Time stretched. Every second felt endless. And then Lucas took a tiny step forward. Ethan's breath hitched. You did it. Oh my God, Owen, you too." The boys laughed, their voices fragile but real. Ethan sank to his knees, tears streaming. Maya clapped softly, eyes shining. "This is what I mean when I say presence heals." Ethan hugged the boys, feeling their tiny movements, their fragile but undeniable strength. I never thought I'd see this day." Maya smiled at him. "It's just the beginning. And it's because you didn't give up on them. You believed, even when it was hard." That night, Ethan pulled out his phone and recorded a short clip of Lucas and Owen standing side by side, laughing, wobbling, attempting steps with his guidance. The next morning, the penthouse felt different, not in any tangible way. Ethan's office was still cluttered with papers. The marble floors gleamed coldly, but the air was lighter, charged with possibility. Lucas and Owen sat side by side, their small hands gripping the edges of their wheelchairs, anticipation flickering in their eyes. Maya knelt before them, holding 2 small wooden blocks. "Today," she said softly, "we try something new." Ethan watched from the doorway, arms crossed, heart racing. "Something new," he echoed. "Are you sure this isn't too soon?" Maya met his gaze, calm and unwavering. "They're ready, and you need to be ready too. Fear is heavier than their bodies ever were." Ethan swallowed hard, stepping forward. The twins turned their heads, their small eyes shining with trust he had almost forgotten existed. "Okay," he whispered. "I'm ready." The exercise was simple but revolutionary. Standing without leaning on the wheelchairs, guided only by Maya's voice and his hands supporting their backs. Lucas wobbled immediately, knees shaking. Ethan gritted his teeth, holding him steady. Owen mirrored his brother, trembling but determined. "You can do it." Ethan urged, "Just a little more. I'm right here." The minutes stretched, tension coiling like a spring in Ethan's chest. He dared not breathe fully, afraid the moment would shatter. Then, slowly, miraculously, Lucas shifted his weight forward, taking a tentative step toward him. Ethan gasped, "Lucas, you yes?" "Yes." Owen followed, wobbling but moving, his small grin infectious. Ethan laughed through tears, holding them both, heart bursting. "I can't believe this. I can't believe this." Maya clapped softly, kneeling behind them. "This is exactly why presence matters. Not the medicine, not the technology, not the money, just you being here, believing." Ethan hugged the twins tightly, inhaling the faint scent of shampoo and rain from earlier. "I've been blind for 2 years," he whispered. "I didn't see what they needed. I didn't see them." Maya's voice was gentle. "Now you do, and now they see you too." Over the following days, Ethan immersed himself completely. The twins' confidence grew, small movements blossoming into deliberate steps, laughter spilling freely. Each success was a battle won, a mountain climbed. One afternoon, as Maya played a simple rhythm game, Lucas suddenly stepped forward without support. Ethan's heart leapt. "Lucas, that's it. You're doing it." Owen mirrored him immediately, both boys wobbling, smiling, arms stretched out. Ethan caught them, laughing, crying, unable to separate the mixture of disbelief and joy that overwhelmed him. Dr. Price arrived later that week, her skepticism sharp as ever. She watched the boys, her clipboard trembling slightly. I don't understand. This isn't possible." Ethan stood tall, watching his sons wobble, then step again. "It's not about what you understand, Dr. Price. It's about what they need. And maybe that's not in any textbook." Maya smiled at him, quiet but triumphant. "Sometimes healing isn't clinical. Sometimes it's love, presence, and belief." Dr. Price pursed her lips. silent for a moment, then slowly nodded. Ethan felt a surge of vindication, but more than that, relief. His sons were alive in ways that mattered most. That night, Ethan sat by the window, holding Lucas on his lap and Owen leaning against his chest. The city below glimmered wetly in the rain-soaked streets. For the first time in years, he felt whole, not because the boys were healed completely, but because hope had returned. "You see that, Daddy?" Lucas whispered, tiny fingers tracing Ethan's hand. "I moved today." Ethan's voice caught. "Yes, I saw. You both did. You're amazing." Owen leaned closer. We walked a little. Together. Ethan hugged them tightly. Together. That's right. Always together. Maya watched from across the room, smiling softly. She knelt beside the boys, brushing their hair back. "They're ready for more. And you're ready too." Ethan nodded slowly, realizing she was right. He had been afraid for so long, paralyzed by grief, that he had almost forgotten the power showing up, of believing, of letting love lead. A week later, Ethan tried something he hadn't dared to imagine, letting the boys practice steps without his hands holding them. Lucas wobbled forward, steadying himself with tiny, tentative steps. Owen mirrored him immediately, arms outstretched, eyes bright. Ethan stood behind them, hard in his throat, calling encouragement. "That's it. Yes. Keep going. You've got this." The boys' laughter echoed to the penthouse, bouncing off the walls and filling the once empty spaces with life. Ethan felt tears stinging his eyes, unable to stop himself. He had imagined moments like this for years, but he hadn't believed they were possible. Maya clapped lightly, smiling at Ethan. "This is why we keep trying." They needed belief more than intervention. They needed you. Ethan nodded, letting the tears flow freely. I was blind, but now I see. I see everything I've been missing." By the third week, progress became undeniable. The twins could take several steps unassisted, holding each other's hands for balance. Ethan stood behind them, guiding them only with his eyes and his voice. Each time they stumbled, he caught them gently, whispering encouragement. One afternoon, as Lucas and Owen practiced near the window, Ethan felt a swell of pride and disbelief. "You're walking," he exclaimed. "You're really walking." They laughed, almost collapsing into each other. Ethan grabbed their hands, twirling them around. "I can't believe it. I really can't." Maya stepped forward, placing her hands lightly on their backs. "It's not just walking. It's living again. They're finding themselves. And you, Ethan, you're finding yourself too." Ethan's chest ached with emotion. I forgot what this felt like. To be a father, to laugh with them, to hope. Maya smiled softly. "Then don't forget, and keep showing up. Every day. That's what heals." The breakthrough came quietly one morning. Lucas and Owen were practicing standing side by side. Ethan held his breath as they lifted their legs, tentative at first, then with more confidence. And then, finally, they took steps together, laughing freely, arms flailing slightly for balance. Ethan collapsed to his knees, heart exploding. "You did it! You did it!" Maya clapped softly, tears in her eyes. This is the reward for patience, for presence, for love. Ethan scooped the boys into his arms, holding them tight. I never thought I'd feel this again. I almost gave up. But I'm here now, and I will never stop being here." He looked at Maya, gratitude written across his face. I don't know how to thank you. You did what no one else could." Maya shook her head gently. "I didn't do it alone. You showed up. You believed. That's the real miracle." The boys laughed. Ethan laughed, and Maya smiled, knowing that this story, the story of fear, grief, hope, and unshakable love, had reached its peak. It was not a miracle in the clinical sense. It was a miracle of human connection, persistence, and presence. The camera panned slowly across the room, the twins standing unassisted, laughing. Ethan embracing life again, Maya's gentle, triumphant smile, sunlight spilling through the windows. The storm outside had passed, leaving a world renewed. Ethan whispered one last time to the boys, "Never give up on those you love. Never underestimate presence. And never forget, miracles happen when you believe. If you're watching the story, remember this. Healing comes in ways you can't predict. Sometimes it's not about doctors, medicine, or money. Sometimes it's about being present, showing love, and never giving up. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share your thoughts, because hope is contagious, and miracles are real when you show up.